You know, there's a difference between being hawkish and being stupid. There's no one who understands what it is the president is doing, what he hopes to achieve, and how he's going to achieve it.
So Mehdi Hasan just caught Senator Peter Welch making one of the most devastating critiques of Trump's Iran war we've heard from any Democrat. Welch is directly challenging both Trump's reckless militarism and Schumer's complicity. This isn't typical partisan pushback. This is a complete dismantling.
We should not have started that war.
Well said.
And the reality is that we see that the president started this war. It was unilateral, didn't explain his reasons or his objectives, and used the overwhelming military power of the Air Force to bomb.
Welch is nailing the core illegality here. Trump's February bombing campaign violated the Constitution. Congress never authorized force against Iran. The unilateral point is crucial because it establishes this as an impeachable offense, not just bad policy. Democrats are finally saying the quiet part out loud.
And now Iran closed the Strait of Hormuz and is inflicting enormous economic damage on the United States and, of course, the Western world. So the negotiation is kind of bizarre because when the president started, he wanted regime change.
The Strait of Hormuz carries 20% of global oil. Its closure has sent gas prices above $6 nationwide and triggered supply chain chaos. Welch is connecting Trump's military adventurism to kitchen table economics, showing how reckless foreign policy directly hurts working families.
But the president's actions have made us more, not less, vulnerable. And that's why it's very hard for me to answer what would I be negotiating. I mean, the right negotiation for us is to be doing everything we can.
Well, this is the key insight. Trump's bombing campaign eliminated American leverage. Iran now holds all the cards with the strait closure. Any negotiation happens from a position of weakness Trump created. Welch is exposing how supposed strength actually made America more vulnerable.
How did Chuck Schumer vote last night?
And he voted for it. We disagree.
How many people voted against the weapons?
7. And the Democratic Party.
40 of your colleagues. You and 39 of your colleagues voted to block weapons.
That's correct.
And
think about this math. 39 Democrats voted to block weapons. Only 7 supported them. Schumer is literally leading a 7-person minority within his own caucus. This represents a seismic shift in Democratic politics. The progressive wing has become the mainstream.
Senator Schumer is not the leader when it comes to where the Democratic Party is on what's going on with Israel, in Lebanon, in Iran. And the war is extremely unpopular. And many of my colleagues who were with Senator Schumer on their position just a year ago.
Welch is essentially declaring Schumer's leadership illegitimate on foreign policy. When a sitting senator says the majority leader is not the leader on the defining issue of our time, that's a direct challenge to party hierarchy unprecedented in modern politics.
When it comes to negotiating with the terrorist government of Iran, Trump's all over the lot. One day he sounds tough, the next day he's backing off. And now, all of a sudden, we find out that Witkoff and Rubio are negotiating a secret side deal with Iran. What kind of bull is this? They're going to sound tough in public and then have a side deal that lets Iran get away with everything? That's outrageous. We need to make that side deal public.
Notice how Schumer was attacking Trump from the right before the war, demanding tougher action against Iran. This secret side deal rhetoric enabled Trump's military escalation. Schumer's hawkish positioning gave Trump political cover for an illegal war.
You know, there's a difference between being hawkish and being stupid. All right? Trump is talking tough. He's going to bomb them into the Stone Age. But what he doesn't appreciate is what's the limits of what can be accomplished through military means. And Iran, led by the Ayatollahs, have an infinite capacity to inflict pain on their own citizens or accept pain inflicted by others.
Welch draws the perfect distinction here. Iran survived 8 years of brutal war with Iraq, decades of sanctions, and countless assassinations. The idea that bombing would collapse the regime was always fantasy. Military force has clear limits against ideologically committed adversaries.
Trump did something astonishing. When he was making a decision about whether to commit us to war, he invited the leader of another country, Benjamin Netanyahu, into the Situation Room. And Netanyahu gave him assurances that if we bomb, then the Ayatollahs will collapse and there'll be regime change.
If this is true, it's staggering. A foreign leader in the Situation Room during American war planning violates every principle of sovereignty. This goes beyond the usual concerns about Israeli influence. This would be Netanyahu literally directing American military action.
Even with President Trump's own intelligence people saying that's farcical, Trump went ahead based on his, quote, gut. And it's really a deference to Netanyahu.
Trump dismissed his own CIA and Pentagon assessments to follow his gut and Netanyahu's advice. This isn't just bad judgment, it's a complete abdication of presidential responsibility. Foreign policy based on feelings and foreign influence rather than American intelligence.
Is President Trump crazy? That's the question. People are asking about the 25th Amendment, but think about it. We went to war and the Strait of Hormuz was open. The Ayatollahs had kept the strait open for 47 years. In response, they closed it. Now Trump is negotiating to open it, but he just announced that he's going to close it. This is not a rational plan, but it is having real impacts on everyday Vermonters and everyday Americans. It's a recklessness that I've never seen in my lifetime. So you answer the question.
When a sitting senator questions the president's mental fitness, that's not partisan hyperbole. It's a constitutional crisis. The logical contradiction Welch outlined is genuine evidence of impaired judgment. We're witnessing real-time concerns about the 25th Amendment.
Well, number one, I don't know if you are aware of this, but I was the first Senate Democrat that said that President Biden should step down and not run for run for re-election. And I published an article in the Washington Post. So I saw that debate that President Biden was in, and yes, it really raised the questions.
Welch's credibility here is unassailable. He was the first Senate Democrat calling for Biden to step aside, showing he'll challenge any leader, regardless of party, when judgment fails. This makes his Trump criticism impossible to dismiss as partisan theater.
I think what's led to it is the absolute horror that we saw with 70,000 civilians, many children, women, all the hospitals in Gaza getting just destroyed with our bombs. And we're seeing that now in Lebanon. You know, last night, one of the issues was, do we send bulldozers, armed bulldozers, whose job it is, they'll be used to just literally destroy villages, not a home here and there. And that's appalling. That's in Lebanon. So I think that people are coming to terms with the reality that the Netanyahu agenda, that his use of violence that's indiscriminate, is not something we can be associated with and have our arms be the ones that are used.
The bulldozer detail is chilling. American weapons literally designed to destroy entire Lebanese villages. 70,000 Palestinian civilians dead. Every Gaza hospital bombed with U.S. munitions. This moral horror is what finally broke Democratic support for unconditional military aid.
There's a lot of merit to that, because there was a left wing, a progressive wing in Israel domestic politics that was for a two-state solution.
It's gone now.
And it's gone. And there is a willful refusal to recognize what's happening in the West Bank, with the IDF actually assisting the settler movement in seizing Palestinian land.
The Israeli peace movement's collapse shows this goes beyond Netanyahu. Settlement expansion in the West Bank now has bipartisan Israeli support with IDF backing. Welch recognizes we're not just enabling one leader's extremism, we're funding systematic ethnic cleansing.
I think the reason that the AIPAC money is so toxic right now is AIPAC is not advocating a position so much as its position is to advocate for whatever the Netanyahu government wants. In one of the seminal experiences I had, my first trip to Israel, I was newly elected in Congress, and when we were debating things, there was an assertion that if you were taking or asking questions about the pro-AIPAC position, you were being anti-Israel.
AIPAC's transformation into Netanyahu's American lobbying arm is the key insight here. They're not advocating for Israeli security, they're pushing whatever the current government wants, including settlement expansion and Gaza destruction. The intimidation tactics Welch describes are real.
Well, first of all, let's talk about Hind Rashab, and I know you've been involved in this. This is an incredible story. This little girl was with her family. They broke down, and then they needed aid because they had suffered some injuries. The emergency medical staff was coming out. They coordinated with the Israelis, And when they got there, they all got shot and killed, including her. And she was on the phone for a period of time before she died asking for help.
And now there's a movie with the recording.
And now there's a movie with that. And it is a totally unjustifiable killing.
Hind Rajab's murder crystallized everything wrong with this war. A 6-year-old calling for help while medical workers trying to save her got shot by Israeli forces. This isn't collateral damage, it's systematic targeting of civilians and rescue workers.
I'm worried about it. I mean, number one on ICE, one of the conditions that we've been negotiating about ICE is that they not go to places like churches and polling places. And the Republicans won't agree to us on that. Second, on the SAVE Act, the whole point of the president, he's still denying that he lost the 2020 election. Yes. All right? He is pardoned all the people on January 6th who violently attacked police officers. Yes. He's saying that the election should be nationalized. The SAVE Act would allow Homeland Security to basically get access to voter information in all of our states. And then they'd be in a position to, quote, purge or cleanse, as they would put it, voter rolls. So you would be giving, it would have been Kristi Noem. That is the person that would have been in charge, and now Homeland Security with her successor. So what is that about? There's no indication of fraud at all, but there's an assertion of it, and there's a drumbeat that the president is pursuing. And his means of being in a position to totally interfere with the election is the SAVE Act.
Welch connects the dots perfectly. Republicans refusing to protect churches and polling places while demanding federal access to voter rolls. This isn't election security, it's voter suppression infrastructure. They're building the machinery to steal elections while claiming to protect them.